Well, let the Monday morning ruckus begin. It's Jay Cleveland Payne. That's me. Things you might have heard. That is this thing. Monday, July the 18th. That's today, 2022 for the exact day, as we're providing for you today 11 news stories that happened over the weekend or Friday through the weekend that you deemed as pretty good conversational stories. So we're going to give them to you as things to offer up on your coffee talk in the morning or your tea talk if you like. I'm drinking tea. I was drinking tea in the morning because I'm out of coffee here. It's kind of late to do that. Or your water cooler talk if you have a water cooler, or water bottle talk, or gym talk, wherever you're talking, folks. And random things pop up in the conversation. They're now less random because we have great news stories, things that are really good to talk about that make a lot of sense. Some make a lot of sense. Some are just kind of chit chatty. I'm going to give you 11 stories, as I said, in just a moment. And today, because it is Monday, we're providing you extra coverage on all the wide J. Cleveland Payne multiverse. So we're on the J. Cleveland Payne Facebook page, or profile, I should say, the J. Cleveland Payne LinkedIn page, and the J. Cleveland Payne YouTube page. If you want to get this 5 days a week, only Monday we do this on all the channels, make sure you're following us on YouTube by going to thisisaconversationproject.com/YouTube, and we'll have a custom name pretty soon. We finally hit that threshold so we can get a custom name and do all the funny stuff. We're just a little behind in work there. So if you want to check out more things on the main website, check it out as well. So you can check out the sponsorships page, the partners page, and all those things like that. Now let's get into the news stories and get you on for your day. Starting off with Quinta, I always say Quinta. Quinta Brunson sued over Abbott Elementary one day after Emmy noms. So Quinta Brunson, of course, the genius behind this story, and her story that's behind this show Abbott Elementary, and the story that she's got there is an amazing story. Dealing with the spoils of fame, which is people suing you for all sorts of things. A claim by another artist, another producer, another comedian, I'm sure, claims that the show Abbott Elementary is essentially a ripoff of another idea that they had that did not get to fruition for many reasons. And so, because basically Quinta stole this idea, they want to get their money. This comes basically a few days after all the Emmy nominations went for this show to happen. A great show, if you will, but now she has to deal with the fight that is maybe copyright trolls or maybe some sort of actual beef going on. We'll see how this plays out, but we do know that Abbott Elementary back for another season. All the cast is jazzed up to do this thing again, but we have to see how the litigation is going to go, which may make a difference in the show going forward. Our second story of the morning. 4 dead, 2 wounded in shooting at Greenwood Park Mall. Police say Good Samaritan shot and killed shooter. This is going to be a bit of an interesting thing because now the Good Samaritan from the actual Bible story was a guy that found a guy on the road and basically paid for him to bring himself up. With all the talk about good guys with guns, I think we're getting the two confused, and good guy with gun got used instead. Should have got used instead of Good Samaritan. Now, essentially, someone who was around the area was able to take out the gunman who was in the shooting at the mall. But what does it actually mean? Will there be more good guys with guns or good Samaritans actually stepping up to do this? We know we're talking about Uvalde and how there were a lot of good guys with badges and guns who stood around for over an hour and let something happen. Will this become a thing? Will this make you want to be more amenable, more thought process in carrying your weapon, and you do have concealed carry for people out there? This is a serious thing to think about, serious things to kind of work in your head for what's going on with this one, because I am not exactly thrilled with the good guy with a gun or the Good Samaritan, if you will, taking the shot to take out the shooter in the mall. I'm glad more people are safe and the thing is over. But I always wonder about the civilian person who actually has to take that shot and how often it actually works in this case. Comedian, actor, and writer Jack Knight dead at 28. Check out the link inside of our description for more details on this story. I will not confess to knowing all the things that pop up in the feeds, on the news, and whatever. And a lot of things are sort of popped and put in there. But this young man, apparently a very popular comedian on the scene, so check out the links for that. We are sending out our general thoughts and prayers to his family and friends and the co-conspirators, if you will, folks in the comedy world who are friends and worked with Jack Knight. But Jack Knight, the comedian, has passed this weekend, passed Thursday, at the age of 28. The biggest thing is that's extremely young. Grapevine-Colleyville school officials admits Principal James Whitfield was fired for being against racism. Complicated title, complicated story. This happened in a school district in Texas, and a newer person on the school board essentially trying to be more or less, take things back to a normality, a place of olden times when, Opie and his fishing pole was running around. And in the process, essentially wanted to do some massive changes to the world, at least the world of the school district, that one of the principals said, this is kind of racist. And so, in order to push the agenda, they got rid of the principal and then basically admitted that the principal was fighting against their agenda, which did seem a little racist. Read the story. It gets a little better in the actual detail of the story, but read the story and see what's going on. There's a lot of crazy going on with schools and school districts what's being taught, and I don't want to get into that argument right here, right now, because we're trying to get through these quick things for here. But let's back up a second and think about what's going on. My basic idea, what I always say about kids, is if you're a child, you should give a child a sandwich because they're probably hungry. You should give a child some books because they need to read, and that's basically how it goes there. Now, people will argue what type of sandwich do you give the child and what books do you give the child. And that does have something that does say something about where we are. But the big case is, in most cases, it doesn't matter. Give them books to read. Let them learn. Teach them things that are age appropriate. And then as they grow into their own curiosity, give them enough to basically get a taste of what's going on and figure out for themselves, so that by the time they're in their late teens and early 20s and they're in the college realm, you don't have to be worried about the liberals polluting their minds in college, because they have to go to college. They'll have their own thought process and do what they want to already, and hopefully they won't just basically think their thought process is a club that must be hit over other people's heads, because that's what's happening. People are getting really siloed into thinking, and it's not good for any of us. This one definitely not good. 30 women settle with Houston Texans over claims related to Deshaun Watson. This gets the Houston Texans out of a bunch of problems. Deshaun Watson still has plenty of issues, as he's now a quarterback in Cleveland, not with the Texans. But one of the issues that the Texans had, that being the team, was apparently Deshaun Watson likes massages. He likes to be a bit grotesque and be a bit sexually abusive with these massages that he's getting. This is not for effect. For some reason, I just got this little thing going on. And so Deshaun Watson still has to deal with all the litigation he has going on, and still with the cloud is floating over him. That's in Cleveland. Also, there's issues about the fact they got rid of the other quarterback for him. But the Texans are dealing with their own thing by paying out, settling with the women, lots of women, 30 women specifically, for their issues. The fact that they said that they basically enabled Deshaun Watson going forward. I cannot relate to anything like this because I'm not a person with this much talent. I do know there was a story this past weekend about a Dancing with the Stars contestant dancer who has danced with a lot of the athletes, who says she has to fight off advances from them because these are guys that are used to getting what they want, and if they want a woman, they kind of get them. So that may be what's wrapped up in this thing. But on this end, as a normal guy doing a internet show on the news at 5 in the morning, that no one's probably watching, it is what it is. Armie Hammer leaves Cayman Islands, living in LA with Robert Downey Jr. Very quickly on this one, we put out the link in the story last week of Armie Hammer, the actor in the Cayman Islands, selling timeshares because he's down on his luck and his family essentially disowned him. Now that this story has gotten to light and a lot of people are basically mocking him on this one, he's given up that life. Whatever is going on, he's out of the Cayman Islands. He's not doing the timeshare job anymore, trying to sell that stuff. And he's apparently living in a house with Robert Downey Jr., or one of his old houses, if you will, and trying to rehab whatever rehab it is. We don't know what exactly is going on with him. We know that someone buying a timeshare down in the Caymans came across the fact that this guy was doing it, and it turned into a really, really big deal in a gossipy way. We'll see later on as we go deeper into the story how gossipy and how serious it is. But as we know for right now, Armie Hammer no longer selling timeshares. He's in LA just sort of chilling. Betsy DeVos calls for abolition of federal education department she once led. This came in late yesterday, and this is one of those, I don't know if it's ironic or coincidence, but Betsy DeVos was brought in by the Trump administration to run the Department of Education because she's a rich white woman. Period. She has no education background. She's rich. She's white. She's a woman. So, of course, she should know what kids should do about education. She poorly ran the education department. I say this as a person who follows news and watches things watches things that people do, and what she do was not do good for the education department. And now she says it just basically needs to go away, or maybe reset in some way. Where this exactly comes from, I don't know. Rich white women thought, I guess. I have no idea. But it's one of those things where, the people who were trying to change things for whatever better they think it is, make things worse. And once they get caught on it, and once they get pushed out, and once they're done for the deal, still trying to make things better for what they think it is and make things worse. No education department is a pretty bad idea. Revamping the education department, sure. Going through what the kids are learning, yep. Trying to find a way to motivate these kids, because the kids have to actually do the work. It's one thing for parents to want their kids to be great. Trust me, as a parent, they have to actually want to do the great things themselves in some way. And if they don't want to do it, then if you have a failing school and all the kids don't want to achieve, then you're going to keep having a failing school. That's kind of there. So changing the education department, that makes sense. Abolishing it, a major victory for Britney Spears. Judge orders Jamie Spears to be deposed and produce surveillance records. This is big time news for Britney Spears. Her father, Jamie Spears, must actually go into court and speak in front of people and tell the truth, the whole truth, plus produce some records of surveillance on the life that she led while under surveillance, i.e. the conservatorship of Mr. Spears. This is going to be a big deal in figuring out what exactly happened to a lot of money, a lot of assets, things that was going on, proving that Jamie Spears was essentially milking his daughter for all she was worth, and just basically making her slave labor, for lack of a better term. We're going to see how this one plays out. A lot of people who are in the Britney Spears are loving this idea that Jamie Spears must speak in front of judges. Mega Millions jackpot tops $500 million after Friday night's drawing. That means nobody wins, and of course, someone will win, but none of y'all will win. It's pretty much a given that somebody eventually wins the lottery, and it ain't any of us. We'll see. I'm sure that the lottery number, the tickets will basically, ticket sales are basically going up as of this point, because at $500 million for that chance to lose, it's a pretty good chance to lose for $2 to make it work. And in relationship news, Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck get married in Vegas. Meanwhile, Grimes and Chelsea Manning have broken up, reportedly. Check out the links for more deeper details on those stories as well. But great news for the lovely couple, Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck, who get married 17 years after they actually got together. It takes a little bit of time and some Derek Jeter, I guess. Plus Grimes and Chelsea Manning, which is a weirder story. Both Grimes and Chelsea Manning. Why Chelsea Manning is actually famous / infamous in our lives now. That's a good question. Grimes, she's an artist, I guess, and she was hooking up with Elon, I guess. But that was something that was a semi-big deal for Grimes and Chelsea Manning. They apparently no longer in a relationship. So we mourn for them. We cheer for Lopez and Ben Affleck. Story that we may talk about tomorrow. Not a lot of stuff popping up early, so this is one that may be in there. It might be an old news by now. MLB Draft is going on, and right now Jackson Holliday and Drew Jones are making history by being number 1 and 2, the first and second overall picks, because they're the first time that the first and second overall picks are legacies, players who kids of players who have done great stuff in the league. So you want to talk about this one? We can talk about this one if you deem this one a conversational story. So you just follow us on the feeds, and as this one posts, engage with it. The higher engagement it gets, the better chance we get to talk about it tomorrow morning for Tuesday's edition of Things You Might Have Heard. Now, let's talk about things to keep things on the air and keep us on here for Tuesday morning. And that is Fundrise as one of our sponsors. This is the conversationproject.com/fundrise is the place to get in on the world of real estate investing, the future, if you will, by investing, not by buying a house and building it up and flipping it and renting it out and hoping people don't destroy it, but you can just buy into a fund that will manage for you. I mean, this is big time stuff. Many people in real estate essentially put money into some sort of real estate business, some sort of office, some sort of grouping somewhere, and they have people that go out and buy properties and fix up properties and deal with them and do all the stuff. A lot of people do that on their own personal, where they have an old property, they pay a group to run it for them, and they do all the work, and it happens that way. This is exactly that. You put money into a fund via Fundrise, and whatever fund you get to, someone manages to go out there and buy properties for rent, for sale, for renovation, buy commercial property, buy rental property, buy houses all over the nation, and works them up. You get a chance to see what's in your portfolio and a chance to watch your portfolio grow. I have seen a growth of 6% overall in the first 2 quarters since I began with Fundrise in January. I began in January, literally in January, and I'm not putting major money away, so because markets and stuff like that, but the money I have put in has made about 6% return so far. Not too bad on the little cash I got in there. The more you put in there, the more you can make, of course. And of course, you get in the first 30 days as you sign up for Fundrise, they will offer you A, free shares, and B, money off your advisory fees. So there's a small percentage taken out of the money you put in there for your fees. That's how they make their money. They take for the first 30 days, it's free money plus a free account, free shares as well. Check it out at thisistheconversationproject.com/fundrise. This is theconversationproject.com/fundrise. This is an affiliate link, so we get a little cut from this one for bringing you into the door, but check it out. This is the way to expand on your portfolio. I know there's a lot of crazy things going on right now, but start putting a little bit of money away into something like this one to help you out when things start to even itself out. It's Fundrise. Now let's go to the news, or the websites of note for things for our news stuff. Now, all sorts of not speaking. Maybe it's going. This is theconversationproject.com is the main website for all the conversation stuff. Links to the feeds, links to our sponsors page, links to our partnerships page, links to all the things we're doing, and we're doing a better job of putting up the stuff that is relevant and done, like videos of this one. Basically, there's a newsletter goes along with this that has a link to this one. We're trying to put that up there as the posting. Plus, this week we were able to do a weekly wrap up, which we haven't done in a long time. We're not going to do that as a podcast anymore because we don't have time to do that. But it was essentially a wrap up of the top stories for, if you're curious, what the actual top stories of the week were. So check that out at the main website. This is theconversationproject.com. The feeds are on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook is This is the Conversation Project, and on Twitter, th_conversation. As you see stories post every 50 minutes or so, engage with them. The higher engagement, the higher chance they get to talk about. Monday, we go to the full weekend, which gives us over 90 stories in the weekend. So we take from the top 30 stories and pick, 9 to 12 stories. There we go. Tuesday through Friday, we're going to go from 30 stories in a day, pick from top 15, and give you 5 to 7 or 8 stories. We usually give more because we screw that one up too. But you'll get stories going through there. Make sure you get all those stories 5 days a week by following us on YouTube. Go to thisistheconversationproject.com/YouTube and follow us on TikTok, because we don't know what we're doing, but we're trying very, very hard. We're at The Conversation Project on TikTok. Today, things to get in and out of the day. Birthdays for today include Wendy Williams, who's 58 years old today, out of the TV talk show game, but has a good podcast coming up, or she has a podcast coming up. They've got a lot of guests lined up. They're going to keep on doing stuff, and she, of course, not happy with the way it ended on TV, so she's going to bring back the revenge and talk to you folks like she did on the podcast. Hopefully, it will be a grand thing. We love us Wendy Williams, so hopefully she'll get this a great thing. Vin Diesel, who talks like this, is 55 years old today, and got a lot of things in the plate for him. I'm sure he's working on Fast and Furious 37. There's some I Am Groot stuff going on, all that great stuff as well. And Kristen Bell turning 42 years old today. It's hard to believe it's so long ago from Veronica Mars, but what she's doing now to the Frozen stuff and just the silly stuff she does with her husband, Dak, is always entertaining. Oh, also, it's World Listening Day, so you don't have to listen to the world per se, but you should take some time to think about the people you're listening to and not listening to, and take more time to be a good listener. That's my suggestion for the day. A new report put together shows that in 2019, kids around the world between the ages of 4 and 18 spend an average of 48 minutes on YouTube per day, compared to 28 minutes on TikTok. In 2020, the two flip-flopped. Kids started spending an average of 75 minutes per day on TikTok, compared to 64 minutes on YouTube. By the end of 2021, TikTok's lead had increased dramatically. Overall, last year, kids spent a whopping 91 minutes per day on TikTok and 56 minutes on YouTube. The data for those figures came from 400,000 families who use custodials parental monitoring services, which is why we kind of messed up when we in the beginning of the paragraph when we edited it out to make that work and fit on this little slide, because it's a little slide. Now, I can attest that my child has no phone, so she has no TikTok, but she does watch a lot of YouTube. I do know a lot of people are on TikTok. We have an account for the Conversation Project, and I have an account that's personal for TikTok. As I say, every time I open it up and try it, this is a total waste of my time. Why am I dealing with this? This is stupid. Other stuff, things like that. But it is what it is. The TikTok is where all the kiddies are, and until we can get a way to put news articles on there every 50 minutes that actually can be, pinged on, we want to do that, and we'll probably add that to the feeds. It is what it is. So TikTok with your kids is the growing media conglomerate, even if it is 15-second videos of people doing really silly dances and putting filters on. It is what it is. And this was what it was. It was things you might not have heard for Monday, July the 18th, 2022. I am, and I still am, and I will be for quite some time, I hope, Jay Cleveland Payne. And we are glad you stuck around for this whole big shebang. This is what we call your tertiary news source, as your news side piece, if you will. Knowing that Anderson Cooper and, Ari Melber and, Steve Ducey, those guys, are your true loves for your news sources, maybe even some Newsmax, if you will. We're just glad you come in with us and join us for some of the randomest stuff out there, because it's more than just the headline stuff. Yes, MBS and Bill and Biden did the little fist bump, and that was a thing. That's a thing, yes. But, Britney Spears is a thing. And Ben Affleck and Jennifer Aniston, no, not her, Jennifer Lopez, they're a thing. And Grimes and Chelsea Manning are no longer a thing. Such is life. We're going to go back to the grind and posting things every 50 minutes, and you just follow us on our feeds and let us know what stories are good enough to chat up, and we'll chat up those specific ones tomorrow. Make sure you stop by our YouTube page, which is at thisisaconversationproject.com/YouTube. We do have enough followers enough subscribers to change that name. We'll work on that within a couple days or so, but we still want you to get this thing 5 days a week. So make sure you're not missing this, and make sure you hit notifications at subscriptions so that you get the notification at 5:50 when this thing goes live. Thank you so much for being with this one. Make sure you stay hydrated, you stay limber, and you stay on task, because it's so important to have you around with us for all the great things you're meant to do. We will see you tomorrow morning on the Tuesday edition of July of things you might not have heard. I don't know how Kristen Bell talks. She talks like she does. She sounds like Frozen, I guess. I don't know. That's it. I'm done. We're out of here. Let's go ahead and get ready for the day and have a great one, and have a great day tomorrow as well.